Hello, this is Demon Phoenix continuing my Deathmatch No Armour playthrough. We have just finished the Skellige Gwent quest here, so we can start playing a couple of games of Gwent again. Got pretty much everything we would need for any of the decks apart from Relentless, which we would get from the High Stakes quest. So, may have to do that at some point just so I can round out my Nilfgaard deck. But it's pretty much as we would want it at the minute. We've got most of the things in there, and then we've got a couple of other things that we could be doing as well, namely the Lord of Unvik quest, so we want to be doing that too. So just going to go through here, see what we've got, and then go through this. I do quite fancy getting a Relentless a little bit soon, so I may do High Stakes this episode after I've done the Lord of Unvik. So there I've got all my spies, so I can just play all of these, get tons of cards, and then see what else I get. Now obviously they're going to score very highly. I think I have a Biting Frost in this deck. I normally do, that's why I have the one Biting Frost, so that if you do play loads of your own spies and stuff like that, you can get them back. So, just see what we get. Now we didn't get the Biting Frost there. We have got plenty of decoys, so I should be able to win by purely having more cards than the opponent. So make use of them. Now, usually let's get rid of Milva straight away. Usually they have medic cards, so there are a lot of medic cards in the Scoia'tael deck. So either they're going to run out of cards, or they're going to medic back some of my own spies, and then I will just play them myself. So I can use these because I can medic and decoy the 10 strength ones back. They're just going to run out of cards if they don't have anything else to actually beat me with, and if they don't medic back any of my cards themselves. So I win that because Nilfgaard always win ties. Can use that to stop any Scorch if they perchance have any Scorch cards like that. Play all of these first. It doesn't look like they have any medics, or they would have played them already in all likelihood. I'll just see what their last two cards are. So they've got a Scorch, which they can't use because it would scorch all of those things. Let's see if I can bait them into using that Scorch actually. No. They don't want to use that Scorch because obviously they would lose 18 points to my 6, and so they're going to lose quite badly here. Didn't really end up even needing those in the end. That was a misplay. I should have just left that, but really doesn't matter. I could have doubled these up. But yeah, unnecessary. Don't have any main cards that I actually need as far as I remember now. Got pretty much everything I want. I'm missing a few of the monster ones that you can buy and things, but I'm not using the monster deck on this playthrough anyway. That should be fine. Don't need decoys quite so much against the monster deck, because unless they have decoys themselves or they get Yen as the medic, they're not going to be playing them really. And obviously, right as I say that, they do decoy one back, but that's actually a good thing, because it'll let me decoy it again. And then hopefully get more cards and more decoys of my own. Going to play Villain Tretameth first. And see what we get from this, and that'll inform how we play the rest of the deck. So I don't have any decoys to reuse Vil. I do have a couple of medics. So I can play another one of these cards first. Okay, so I can drop him down to 30 with the Scorch card. So 2 cards to win. Is that worth doing? Yes. use a couple of these, make them waste all their cards, and when they've got 3 cards left, I'll see what they have. And then I'll go and make my plays accordingly. Should be able to win this one. They've got Impenetrable Fog and a Clear Weather, and then the Werewolf. And then the last one's going to be Impenetrable Fog, so win this one easily. Okay, so a couple of Gwent wins there. That's the problem with the one of the problems with the Scoia'tael deck is that some of the things that you, some of the really good cards like the Havakar Smuggler, the third one of those is random, and same for a few of the 6 strength agile ones, which are a big strength of the deck. So it can be quite frustrating playing Scoia'tael because, you know, it's not as good a deck as Northern Realms or Nilfgaard anyway, but then on top of that you have to randomly get the good cards as well. So it's a bit of a frustration if you're trying to use some of the other Gwent decks. But otherwise, not too much of a problem. So I can do Lord of Unvik while I'm here. And then I will, after I've done that, then I think it'll be time. Where is Lord of Unvik? There it is. And then after that, it'll be time for me to go and do high stakes, I think, and get Relentless. Although I have beaten most of the people already in the game. I plan on doing a playthrough with the Viper gear and my Viper build, because I've never used that for a full playthrough, and it's one of my favourite builds. It's very like the Uber build, actually, but I plan on doing that, and then being able to use the Nilfgaard deck for that for like a whole themed playthrough, which will be good. Because you can get most of the Nilfgaard cards early, because you buy most of them or win them in the specific places in Velen. It's only these spies that you need to get randomly, so if you have the patience, you could reset a few early Gwent games until you get 1 or 2 of the spies, maybe even all 3, and then do high stakes early and do Gremist's quest early, and then you could have the full Nilfgaard deck with Relentless and have a bit more use out of it than you otherwise would. So that's kind of something I'm looking forward to doing as well. I'll do that after this playthrough. Bless me. Do keep sneezing today. Right, okay, so I'm gonna grab all this stuff and then head out. I hear sirens somewhere. I feel like I heard sirens. Yeah, there they are. But we don't have to go that way, so I don't have to pay attention to them for the minute, and just collect all this stuff and then carry on. Nothing particularly useful there, but there's probably a few more things to loot and explore, but I'm not particularly bothered a bit in the minute. Just going to head this way. Got plenty of time left on my decoctions, although my superior Tornial is running out now because it's daylight again from having fast travelled. So I'll have to bear that in mind. I'll reuse that in combat if I have any big combat or anything like that. And if I meditate, then again I'll just meditate to after 6 PM. So I'll play most of the game at night because of the superior Tornial, and because it will last indefinitely. Now there's a lot of good stuff to try and remember to get as you're going around here. Some of the mushrooms and things you need for alchemy recipes if you've not been to Skellige, like if you're doing the game in the normal order. get like puffball and long rube and stuff like that. But I've already had those because I've been doing things a bit out of order because I went to Skellige early and all that kind of stuff. So just going to grab all this stuff. And also this is a good quest to do because you get Arenia eyes, which are like the Skellige higher level harpies, and the ones that are about level 15 or so in this quest, some of those will be Arenias, Arenias, however you want to say it, and that'll let us finish off some of the things that we're missing so far. There's a couple of oils that we need Arenia eyes for. I think it is the hybrid oils and stuff like this. So those will be good to watch out for. And here we get our first look at the giant, I think, the ice giant, and his boat that he was commandeering the men to build. You also get the horn that knocks sirens out of the air. And that's a particularly useful item to have, so that's really good. I always skip the cutscenes, but some of them are really cool, so like I've not watched this one for a while. I actually forgotten what even happens in this scene, so just watch that for now. And we'll end up having to take this guy out later. It'll be an interesting battle actually when we fight him, because most of the time he does an absolute ton of damage. The Cyclopses, Giants and Elementals are very hard hitting enemies, so we have to be careful with those. Just have to take these things out first. Well, yeah, we just saw the giant, Geralt. Try and take these things out. Actually, we've only got the basic hybrid oil, but I might as well put it on at the minute. Get some bigger hits off on these things, because they're a little bit frustrating to fight before you get the horn. They're not frustrating per se, it's just like, it just takes a little while to actually fight them, because you have to keep knocking them out of the air and everything else, so. But you can get them pretty easily, and they're also a little susceptible to ARD, which is alright because we have ARD sweep, so we can use that more often. Keep these things grounded and then take them out. Then we've got this absolutely crazy guy. Although to be fair, not really surprising that he did, you know, turn out crazy, given what's happened to him. Skip through all this stuff again. Him and his boys. Yeah, very strange. Alright. Skip through all this stuff. Alright. I can't remember what the significance having getting the nails and twine actually, if you actually get anything for it, but we'll find out. You pick up plenty of them anyway, so you might as well.
Someone dragged a litter through here.
Bit of multitasking there. Another good use for ARD Sweep there. I got shells as well, which is always useful because you can dismantle those into pearls, and that's a good little source of income as well. Always, always, always dismantle seashells and shells to get the pearls or black pearls, and then sell those, or use them to make into dust and then create your runes from that and things like that, and glyphs. I've never had to ever create a rune, I don't think, because you just pick up so many of them. But you can create glyphs, especially the ones that the RuneWrite creates. His are particularly useful, especially the ones of mending. I really like the ones of mending. So there's a few different ways that you can do things here. you can follow these things.
For a long time, two people came through here. Separately, these tracks are older. Somebody left the camp before the attack.
Now, I do recommend that you follow these parts of the tracks and do this bit. It's not actually necessary for the quest itself, but it is useful because if you rescue the person, you rescue him from 3 trolls, and the trolls each drop a flawless ruby. Now, that's particularly important if you want to use the feline swords, because the mastercrafted feline steel and silver swords need a flawless ruby, but otherwise they're just extremely they're extremely valuable as well, so you might as well get them if you can take the 3 trolls out, which is what we'll be trying to do. Where am I looking? There is that. Archer's arrow. No, because he was running away. So we've got to find out where these go now. Some more long rube. Again, you don't really get long rube before you get to Skellige, as far as I remember. It's a little bit rarer. Although I did find some on the bridge across to on to Novigrad, so I'll have to remember that. Whoa, bless me. Rip headphone users, do apologise. Snuck up on me, that one.
Archer was determined to kill him. Wonder why.
A lot of stuff to grab here, most of it absolute crud. So, pointless crap. Not even worth looting this stuff if it's just all ashes. Never mind. What's this going to be, I wonder? Oh look, ashes.
Got hit good.
Is this all the same? Yep. I don't even want that. Not taking it on protest.
Lost a lot of blood. Couldn't have gone much further.
But anyway, if you can follow this and find where the guy's gone, it's very useful because you can follow it into this cave
Archer finally caught up to him.
and rescue this guy.
Archer go.
Now that's the horn that's extremely useful. You can put that in an item slot, and it knocks everybody. It knocks these sirens out of the air, so that's really useful. I do love that. Now where is that? Just want to get rid of some of these excess torches, so I remember to sell those. You only ever want to carry 1 torch, so I'll have to do that later. Right, okay, so we've got some trolls that I'm going to be fighting here, so we need to have the superior ogre oil, which we have now, because we got the cave troll livers, and then made those. Just get a little bit of extra health while I'm here, because that potion lasts a little while. And I think you can poison the trolls. You normally can. So we'll just have those at the ready, might as well.
Must be one of Yalmar's men. Now where'd that Archer
Alright.
go?
Where did that archer go?
Archer was wounded too.
Right, so it's actually quite tricky to find this thing. What am I looking for?
Trolls. Dragged him into the cave.
Yeah, there you go.
Wonder if he's still alive.
Right, so we've got to find this guy. Follow these dudes through here. And you just got to explore all the nooks and crannies. Don't think there's anything that way, to be perfectly honest, but seems a little odd, but there we go. And then we've got lots of ice trolls here, so get these guys down here. Mostly want to be using heavy attacks against trolls because they are, you know, quite heavily armoured, so they're one of the enemies that does have a decent amount of armour in the game. Not a lot of them do, but some of them do. But again, as long as you're being a little bit careful, you can, you know, avoid getting hit by them. Stun them with hard sweep. And then every time you do that, again, Ancient Lesson Decoction will let you keep your health up a bit. This one's actually not getting hit, afflicted by bleeding. Normally you can bleed them if you need. But I can just take this guy out with heavy attack, so that's not a problem. Nice bit of a troll hide there. They're worth quite a lot as well, so that's useful. Not even doing any damage at all, hitting him like that. Wonder if I can bleed him. Oh, we'll take a decent amount from poisoning at least, so I'll just let that have an effect. Wear him down a little bit as well as the hits. And again, same as always, add sweep. I don't want to use up all my broadhead bolts because I forgot to make any more, but you can inflict them with bleeding as well. I'll save those for when I fight the 3 trolls at once, so that will be useful. Oof, damage. That was a nice big chunk of damage there. So I'd best be careful with that. And the direct damage from Igni, not very much at all, but coupled with the other damage over time and the hits from the strong sword hits, pretty well able to deal with that. So let's have a look. Now this is the bit that you actually want to find. It's this path up here. It's very, very easy to miss. Very easy to miss. So you can come up this bit this way, follow your Witcher senses here again, and this is the part where you need to be actually taking out the trolls. So I've only got 16 oil left on there, so I'll just make sure that I replenish my oil. And probably don't want to use another one of these at the minute. Should be alright as we are. I'll use the bombs to try and burn them as well. And then the broadhead bolts for bleeding. So I'll get these first. Try and poison them. You can try and solve the riddle and solve this without fighting the guy. It's a very easy riddle to solve, but we don't want to be doing that. Because like I say, we want to fight them for the flawless things there. So, right, okay, so if you just say I had enough, you can fight them like that. And hit them with a bit of poisoning. And also fire damage. So when you've got that, that'll, you know, cause a good amount of damage to them. And then I'll just meditate afterwards. And be able to cause a good amount of damage. So a couple of uses of Axie and Add Sweep will set me up for doing them a good chunk of damage there. I need to be careful of their rock attacks. And also I can inflict them with bleeding as well. And so now that I've got them bleeding, I'm just going to keep going up and make sure that I'm dodging around, keeping them in that poison cloud if at all possible. Oh, accidentally put my sword away there, not a good idea. And like I say, when there's the 3 of them, you need to be quite careful, because they can do a lot of damage like that, and they can all be throwing stuff at once as well, so just be a little careful with that. I need to get the opportunity to use the Ancient Lesson Decoction, and that'll let me that'll make it easier for me to keep going up, and then we should be fine. So as long as you're dodging this kind of thing, I can keep my stamina regeneration up like that. Uh-oh! SpaghettiOs! And now I'm at the sort of point where I can use my Gwen a little more regularly and be able to take them out, so that'll be fine. Oof! Ow! 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 And that is why we have to be careful. So just going to use the Superior Maribor as well. Get a little bit more adrenaline to have a little more damage. And that'll help me That'll help me in terms of actually dealing with one of them. So as soon as you've got one of them dealt with, then it's a little bit easier. And as soon as you've got just one out of the 3 left, then it's quite easy because you can just use Axie like that on the other ones. So we're just going to be a bit mindful that we need to keep our distance, but our stamina regeneration is much faster now, and that is what we needed. So now I can deal with things a little bit easier. And as long as I'm keeping Quen up, I should be absolutely fine. I've got the Superior Swallow as well, so that'll offset the damage I'm taking from the toxicity. Now, if you need to fight these guys and you are fighting them in a regular game and you're struggling with them or anything, you can turn off the enemy upscaling, because they're not all 3 of them at your level. So this is actually a more difficult fight because of that, so just bear that in mind. So I can switch out some of the other bombs, because you can do that in combat as well, so this will make it a little bit easier as well, and then just meditate to get everything back afterwards. So throw the Dragon Stream, got them all poisoning, and then again just inflict a little bit more burning. Dodge around until I can get the Quen back up, and then just get them stopped a little bit with hard sweep, and again just want a little bit more stamina regeneration. And the troll, when they roar, they were just about to do a sort of charging attack, which is quite difficult to deal with, but I was able to just stop one of them. So like, we've got one of them down now, and I just need to keep Quen back up because I'm getting a little bit of damage there. But that should be fine. Gets hit by his own rock there, and they're all going to be taken out now, so it's pretty easy. Well, I say easy, but you know what I mean. Doable. And that's the flawless rubies that we wanted, and the troll hides can be sold as well, so that's quite useful. Get all our health back with the echidna decoction, and the decoctions are sort of getting to the point where they're running out as well. So it'll be a good idea for me to meditate soon anyway, so just get all my health back like that. And then meditate and rescue this guy. So basically I just left him in a cooking pot for like 6 hours there while I meditated at the side, but you know, never mind. All fun and games. And then just reapply my decoctions and I'm good to go. Now next up, I think the next enemies are going to be harpies if I remember correctly, so I'll just put that hybrid oil on in anticipation of that. And make sure that I have the correct trophy there. Doesn't make a big difference at all, but you know, worth doing. Oh, did the guy die? That sucks.
Boiled to death.
That's weird. I didn't realise he could actually die. Oh well, never mind.
Boiled.
We should have stopped that in the first place. Oh well. Huh. Learn something new every day. I guess I should have put out the fire first. I wonder if I'd just done that normally before then. Yeah, because you can save that guy and then he joins you. How interesting. Anyway, I really wanted the flawless ruby, so soz, rip that guy. Oh well. Sorry, dude. Harsh. Yeah, interesting. I mean, so I suppose if you get near enough, then you can knock the fire off with hard in the middle of combat. That would make more sense. But yeah, if you save that guy, then he like joins you, but I don't really think he does anything particularly useful. I've never noticed it being particularly useful, so not too fussed about it. Again, this is not really like a sort of canon playthrough or anything, so I can live without it. So same again for this guy. This is going to be using up that hybrid oil. I'm going to put on the correct oil just so it goes a little quicker, because these things take quite a few hits, as we've been seeing, so reapply the hybrid oil afterwards. Didn't get a burn on him because my stamina, my sound intensity is not that high, so it didn't burn straight away, so get a couple of quick hits in there. That combo is quite effective against them. And this is how you can like stun lock enemies with Axie or hard sweep with the ancient lesson decoction, which is what makes it such a powerful technique, because the more times you do it, the easier it gets. and take them down very easily. So that's a extremely powerful technique, and one I recommend you look into. I actually changed the Uber build as I was going through New Game Plus on my walkthrough, because I realised that it was very easy for me to incorporate that with the extra points that you get from New Game Plus, because you can finish the build right up to Killing Spree very early, and then from there it's just a matter of what you use the extra points for. So you effectively have you have a ton of extra points that you can put to pretty much whatever you want after the build is finished. And so what I did with that was, harpies. Do I have to go that way? I don't actually know. No. I might try and take some of these out, because if any of them are Arenias, then I can get the oils. Obviously this is the area right from the end of the game. I don't really think I need to take them out though, because you fight more of them coming this way anyway, so I'll not bother just yet. But yeah, you can incorporate Ard Sweep by putting 9 points into the Signs tree, so 6 to get down to that row, and then 3 points into Ard Sweep, which is what I've done in this playthrough. And then you can switch that for Rage Management if you watch my OP Will Rend tank build. Probably the best build in the game, and it is in my opinion. I can give you quite a few reasons why it's objectively the best build as well. But basically, you can use Ard Sweep instead of Rage Management on that, and as long as you have the Ancient Lashing Decoction as one of the 4 decoctions you can use with it, it's extremely effective, and it makes the build very, very versatile. It's really great for stun locking enemies, it's great for buying yourself a bit of time in fights against multiple enemies as well. And you can use it for all the other stuff that Ard is useful for. You don't get knockdowns even with your high sign intensity from Euphoria, because in New Game Plus and at high levels, the sign intensity for enemies scales in really weird fashion, so it ends up being not as useful for the instant kills or anything, but for buying time and for boosting your stamina regeneration, it's extremely useful. So, right, so we need to explore Hjalmar's camp first. I can't remember what you actually find there, but you know, we'll have a look. And then from there we'll go across the lake, and that's where we'll start finding these harpies and Arenias and stuff like that. That'll be useful. I thought I'd searched this already. Well, I must have missed something, so we'll have a look.
Several men dragged a boat.
Alright. Okay, so just going this way. It should veer off to the left soon, I think. And this is where the multiple aims of the quest start to coincide after you've done that earlier bit, where you either save that guy or, as in this playthrough, accidentally allow him to be boiled to death. Whoops. Which I didn't know could happen. So, still so many things that you can learn in The Witcher, even if you're playing it. This game is just so massive. Absolutely brilliant. Right, so there's the boat. Where can I examine this? Get all this stuff. Got a few spectres to be taken out here as well, so I'll just use my superior spectre oil. And get that moon dust ready as well. See if I can get these together and chuck a moon dust at both of them at once. Wow, that took a lot of damage. That's without even using Erden or the moon dust. Ah, crud. Pretty weak wraiths. Wraiths don't do that much damage, so like, you see there, even though I know it's on Deathmatch and I know it's on no armor, wraiths ignore armor anyway, and you can easily manage them with elemental resistances regardless. They don't ignore the resistances of armor, they just ignore the armor rating. But on Deathmatch that doesn't make a big difference anyway. And, you know, so that they don't kill you instantly because of that mechanic, they just do lower damage overall, so you don't really have to be as careful against wraiths because they're not going to cause you any real problems. Or they never do for me anyway. Bunch of neckers down there if you want to go and fight some neckers, but not really that bothered. Ah, crud. Okay, so tiny bit of money and some pointless stuff there, but never mind. And then we'll go back to the actual Lord of Unvik quest now. Where are we at? Lord of Unvik, where you at? There we go. Not going to follow that boat trail because I must have lost it somewhere. I'm not double tracking just to come back and find the boat, and I've already found it and I already know that you're going this way anyway, so just going to ignore that other bit. Swim across here, and then we have to track the giant. While you're here as well, you can also do the Master Armourer quest. Now that was a level 24 quest, I think, so the troll that you have to take out is quite high level. But again, it's only a one-on-one fight against one single troll, so as long as you're careful, you can do it very early if you want, and unlock Joanna as a Master Armourer. Because you can take out the Archgriffin that you have to beat at the same time, or little bit later, using tactics like the bleeding arrows, and that is a Archgriffin that you can burn, because some of them, like the really high level one, Opernicus, that you fight for the Oxenfurt contract, are immune to burn, but they can usually be hit by poison blades if you have the poison blades ability and the correct oil, which does a ton of damage to them. And the level 24 one that you fight for the Master Armourer's quest can actually be burnt, and I believe it can be hit with bleeding as well, so you can wear that thing down even if you can't do a lot of direct damage to it. So as I've been hopefully demonstrating quite well throughout this playthrough, a lot of the damage over time mechanics are very effective on Deathmatch because the enemies have a ton of health, but the damage over time stuff like poisoning and bleeding and burning are all based on a combination of your sign intensity, or for burning anyway, and the enemy's health. So because they've got more health, they take, you know, proportionally the same amount of damage, which is why it's really useful. So right, got to go through all this stuff. Haven't found any of these harpies yet, but I'm sure you definitely do find some. I could go back and fight those other ones, but
Giant tried to get inside. Looks like he gave up.
oh yeah, you fight harpies in this. Yeah, this is where you fight harpies and stuff. That's cool. Just going to switch away from my broadhead bolts because I need to make some more of those. I've only got 9, so I'll save those for fighting the actual ice giant himself.
Shouldn't hit bottom.
Wee bump. Black magic doll. Okay. A lot of good stuff in this cave. You do get some stuff like dimeritium and things. So, and see, these are the Arenias that I'll want to be killing. Axe's extremely effective against these. It'll let you instant kill them a lot. So you want to be doing that. And there's one Arenia eye, and there's another. So that should let me make the superior oil, as long as I have the actual other ingredients for it. So there's the enhanced hybrid. And there's the superior. So straight away all I needed was those 2 eyes. And the only 2 oils I have left to make are these. Now you get an enhanced draconid oil for free from Eskel's camp. So that's why I haven't created one of those yet. So all I need to do is find a cockatrice stomach, and there's one of those in Skellige, and there's also one in Novigrad. So I'll be doing that later as well. I'll probably make sure I've got the cockatrice stomach before I carry on with the actual those parts of the quest. I think this is where you normally get some dimeritium. No. Well, there's definitely some to collect somewhere here. That chest doesn't really have anything good, as far as I remember. Oh, that body, sorry. Greater Morana runestone. Now that is actually useful. That being the 5% poison one. I might put that into my feline sword. Just make use of that. I'm sure there's another thing to collect somewhere around here, this cave, that has dimeritium in. I'm going to find it just to be stubborn. Bit more long rube. White wolf hides. More long rube. So yeah, I mean you get plenty of long rube on this quest as well. So if you're missing that from when you're doing, you know, that's something that's not particularly common. So this is a good place to explore and make sure you get that as well, because you do need it for at least one of the higher alchemy ingredients. I do remember. And it's a little pointless me picking it all up, but Jitterbug runestone, always good. Dimeritium ingots, yes, I knew you got some somewhere. There you go. So make sure you find this little bit in this little tail part of the map there, because that's very useful to get a few ingots, especially for when you come to making your Grandmaster swords or gear or whatever else later on, because you need tons of dimeritium for those. Right, so now we just have to find our way through the actual cave. Oh, which is going to be this sort of direction, I guess. Right, follow the witcher senses. Yeah, so it's back up this way, yeah. So, short detour for finding things like that. And now I actually have the superior hybrid oil, which will last for the full 60 hits, which is very useful. So, there you go, superior hybrid. I think I'm going to put that Greater Marana runestone in the silver sword as well. If it's witcher swords that you're going to be using for quite a while, you can either put in lesser stones and then destroy the upgrades, which will also destroy the stones. So you can do that with lesser ones, no worries. I mean, it's a bit of a waste of money in my opinion, but you absolutely can do. But I like to just skip out doing that, save the money. I never really need the lesser stones to be used. And instead of just putting them in and then destroying them later, save the money and just work actual 5% stones, the greater rune stones, and then just use those straight away. So that's what I've done there. Make sure I've just got my normal bolts, because I don't want to be wasting any of the good bolts on these things, especially, like I say, haven't made any new ones just at the moment. So when you're fighting multiples of these harpies, it's a good idea to use Ard Sweep, I find. And then when it gets down to just being single ones, then you can start using Axe instead. I'm doing a fair amount of damage to me there, so I need to be a little bit careful. And get those few hits in. That's one down. And you can actually parry them down like that as well, which makes them easier to deal with. And if you can get Axie on them, then Axie actually puts them down for a little bit longer and lets you get that finishing move on them, which can take them out straight away a lot of the time. I've recovered a little bit of my health there from using the other signs, so I'll just do that. And they don't have a ton of health, so they're not so bad for taking out. Harpy eggs, don't think you need those for anything in particular. I seem to have gotten by just fine without them so far anyway. But yeah, taking those out, just do a bit of exploring, find out what's up here. A little bit of Alcahest. Would be useful if I didn't have hundreds already, but nothing else particularly amazing up there. Dimeritium ore, well that makes it a little more worthwhile.
Tunnel caved in.
Whoa, that was too close. Alright. So, just carrying on again. Trying to find the survivors of this particular quest, if there are any.
Shot half a quiver into her.
Okay. Quite an interesting, eerie little quest, really. This one. I think there are some sort of the exploding enemies. I can't remember which version it is, but might be the rot fiends. Yeah, devourers. Now these are necrophages, and there's a few of them to fight, so I'll just make sure that I apply that necrophage oil. No messing around with these things. Never get hit by their make sure you never get hit by their exploding attack. Keep your distance and keep Gwen up at all times. Just not worth the hassle. But they do take quite a lot of damage, so because we're dealing quite decent damage as well. Keep our distance. Now, I'd already been to Toderas in Velen, which is in the northeast area of Velen. And I had done that specifically to fight the Devourers, because once you clear out the humans who are looting Toderas, when you go back, there will be Devourers there, and you need that for, I think it's Superior Swallow. It's one of the very useful high-level things anyway, so yeah, you need to make sure that you do that with the sort of Predator Dreads. And you get quite valuable necrophage hides from them as well. Okay, so looted pretty much everything there. We've got the horn as well, the hallowed horn, which is really useful. And now this is the bit where you can carry on with the quest. Now, before you do this, if you want to do the Master Armor bit, then you can come in here and fight the troll. So, just going to do that. I'll get the Old oil on. Again, this ice troll is quite high level, so I'll just oh, missed. That's no good. I'm doing good damage to him anyway, so get a few hits in with Northern Wind. Now, because I do sort of match his level, he's not Red Skull, so he's taking a lot of damage. You see there the bleeding effect from the feline sword as well. And even if he's guarding the hits, you can just do Axie and then hit another one like that, and then he'll be taken down from the bleeding. So that's Master Armor's updated, because I can search around for the tools and find those, which are here. High quality tools. Bunch of goats you can kill there if you want the hides and stuff like that as well. And then you can come back out this side. Or we can just go back to Lord of Unvik, which I'm going to do. Now, as you get higher level, it costs more and more to repair your gear. But the flip side of that is you get more and more repair kits as well. So I stopped paying for the armors to actually repair stuff, and I just use the repair kits. You normally find enough of those that it's not a problem doing it that way. So if you repair by just paying the very small amounts that the armorers charge you early in the game, then by the time you've built up a bit of a stock of the repair kits, you can keep a few in your stash and just keep like anywhere between 2 and 4 with you at all times normally. And then you can just repair your sword when it warns you that the sword actually needs repairing. So we've got to try and find a way in here, which is this. Everybody dead, no fun. Load of valuable stuff there, always good for selling as well. And now I've just been trapped by Adriana, which is very unhelpful. Or is it a Devourer? Ah, Devourer, okay. I'll take these things out. Again, just need to be a bit careful with them, because although I can do a lot of damage to it, it can do a lot of damage to me as well. Got the fire damage there, which is useful. If you can get one of them to explode and then get the other one to the other ones to sort of walk into it, that's very useful. Like if I can set this one to be exploding and then back off, it'll probably kill the other one. Or at least do a ton of damage to it like it did there. Just don't take any chances with them. And make sure that you keep Gwen up. Where's this thing gone? It's a bit strange. Damn, you're ugly. Ooh, it exploded with poison. How interesting. Oh well. Examine.
Show me a pantry and I'll show you the mice.
Sage words of wisdom there from Geralt. Right, so we're just carrying on. Again, make sure you loot all the necrophage hides and all that kind of stuff, because they are very useful. A lot of other stuff to grab in here. This is normally crowns and florins or whatever. So make yourself a nice little bit of money there. Grab all this stuff. Absolute ton of Alcest again, so you just end up with absolutely loads of that. And these florins are quite valuable. I think it's florins that are worth 3 and orins that are worth 1 crown. So getting a good chunk of money there. I'll be able to exchange that a little bit later. So we're just going to follow the giant tracks down this way. And then we're nearly at the point where we fight the ice giant. Just got to fight a few sirens with Hjalmar from what I remember. And if you just want to quickly, you know, follow a trail like this, all I'm doing is just running and holding the sprint button and then tapping A as I run along. Tapping left trigger, sorry, holding A, tapping left trigger, the witch senses button, just to show them up. You don't have to keep it held, just to show the little bits that you're on. If you're, you know, playing things on a replay and all that kind of stuff, just do that. Don't know why it's got to find Hjalmar as being back there, because this is definitely the way you go. Maybe I missed technically following something or something like that. Grab all this stuff, nothing particularly useful, but you never know. Oil and coal, whatever that's used for. I've got to follow the giant up here. And these things are hybrids, so we'll just switch oils for these again. Make sure we've got regular bolts in there. Try and shoot these down. Get some hits in before they get up again. Pretty easy to take out the sirens. You can actually kill them with poison and bleeding like really early in the game, which is how I got the echidna decoction originally, by coming to Skellige early. I think the earliest I've done it at is like level 4 or 5 in my going to Skellige early video, which is great because you get to kill them. You can you get to kill them. You get to kill the echidna and hopefully get the oh, what's the word? Echidna decoction, sorry. I'd lost my train of thought just skipping through what Hjalmar was saying there. So that's always good.
Skeleton's been picked clean, but there's something next to it.
Okay, so might as well just do this bit while we're here as well. Echidna mutagens in there as well. Always useful. Is that a wraith? Sounds like a wraith. Yeah, it was. Damn, you're ugly. Yeah, you heard. Just getting a bunch of hits for that. Fighting wraiths is always good because, you know, the stuff that you get from them you can usually get a ton of throughout the course of the game. Use what you need and then, right, you know, afterwards you can sell the excess, which is, you know, a reasonable source of income. So, want to be following this stuff. Alchemist powder again, good for making the high level alchemy stuff, but because we've made all of that already, I can just be selling the excess of that as well.
I'll wait at the cave entrance.
You do that. Okay, so try and take these things out. Again, any combination of Axie and Ard is quite good. If you can get them to fall and get some hits in. A little bit awkward to see them sometimes, in this particular bit. See if we can get over there and actually get some hits in. Right, so as long as you can keep them grounded, you can kill them very easily. And if you can't hit them, if you can't parry their attacks as they come down, that'll knock them down as well. Which is what I just did there by quickly hitting the left trigger. And if you don't want to use the crossbow, it can be quicker to use Ard Sweep. Or whatever equivalent you have. You can use Axie or the crossbow if, you know, those are the skills or things that you have. Hit this thing down where I can get some good hits on it. And I got a critical hit as well, so it went down in just three swipes flat. So yeah, sirens, they can be a bit awkward to fight. I keep forgetting I've got the horn already, so I could just be using the horn, which helps a ton against these things. But they're all dead now anyway. I think the next thing I have to fight is actually the giant, so that's no big whoop. Let's grab this. I think it's, what is it, one of the woven? It's one of the woven things, something like that. Oh no, just saltpeter. Wow, useless. I'm sure there's... oh, bless me. I'm sure there's a woven diagram around here somewhere. I don't know if I actually have the map. Let's have a look. No, not that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, make sure we grab this while we're here, might as well. And then we've just got to take on the giant, and that's the Lord of Unvicdon.
Might want to look around some.
Might want to look around some. What we got? Is it around here? It's around here somewhere, obviously. That's the whole point of the woven thing on the wall. And there you go. Mastercrafted woven boots. Very good. Right, so now we've just got to catch up to Young Man on Crate, Hjalmar, and then take out the giant. Now you can save the nutcase as long as you don't run. I can't remember what the rules are exactly, but I think you just got to walk instead of run and stay off the ice. And then you can actually free him, and he can join you later at Kaer Morhen and things like that, which is kind of good. Right, so gotta go through this stuff. Ogre oil because he's a cyclops, I think. Well, it's a something of some description like that anyway.
Getting cold.
Do you have an entry for the ice giant actually? Yeah. Ogre oil and Quen. I mean, Quen, I imagine, I don't know if it does extra damage against them or anything, but it's pretty necessary just for not getting your head smashed in, so that's useful.
Careful now. One odd step and you can wake him.
Right.
Let's
I think he actually dies if you just leave the loon there, so you have to be careful. Right, so you have to walk, and I think you have to walk. I don't know about running, I can't remember, but you definitely have to avoid the ice. I'll walk just to be on the safe side, so avoid all the ice. I think the key's over here. This guy is kind of funny, but like, you don't want anybody to die unnecessarily. Well, depending on how you're being with your choices and things. stay off the ice and let him out, and then I think he just goes and attacks straight away because he's an absolute nutter. But just going to use the superior full moon as well, just to have that for the next fight, because it's useful to have that extra bit of hit points.
Thanks, brother. I remember that.
Right. So now we've got to take out the giant, and you can hit it with bleeding, which is obviously useful. And it doesn't really take not much effect of him being stunned with Axie, but didn't even stop him from doing that attack, in fact. But at least that gives me a little bit of extra. Oh my days! At least that gives me a little bit of extra. What's the word? What is the word? Seriously, I keep losing my train of thought whilst I'm in the middle of things. Gives me a little bit of extra stamina regeneration. Right. Okay. So let's get this sorted. Now, we've got the ogre oil already. We're going to need swallow. Run away! We are going to need swallow, and we're going to. He's not really getting stunned by hard sweep, so we'll use it just to get that stamina regeneration, and so that we can use things more, use Quen more judiciously. Hit him like that. And now that he's lost a chunk of his health, we got this little cutscene. He whips out his like hammer thing, and again, just want to be keeping my distance because this thing really does hurt. So let's see if Erden is making much difference. I never get round to using Erden because at this point I've already got my build sorted and my Ursine armor, so it's never really necessary, but it might be useful. It does seem to slow him down quite a bit. So yeah, Erden doing a fair amount. If you had poison blades, you can probably inflict poison on this thing as well. But they're pretty easy just to keep Quen up and just wail on him. It's actually easier to fight when he takes out the hammer like that because he smashes it in the ground and everything else. So nice green tint on the sword now because we've put the Greater Marana runestone in it. And then Xiaoma helps you finish him off. So yeah, pretty cool. Alright, so that's that all done. And we've completed Lord of Unbook. Damn right, I'm taking the credit. I did all the work, you tool. Right. Nothing else I really need from there, so I'll just take that out. Now, there's a couple of things that I could do in Novigrad before I continue with the rest of the Skellige side quest for that, or I could go right on to doing the Skellige side quest while I'm here. So I think what I'll probably do is let me have a look. I'll probably just do the next part of the thing where you have to choose which person to oh, bless me, support for ruler. So that's King's Gambit. So yeah, I think I'll report to Crack and do that next. Okay, so very quickly just going to go and have a quick look at this quest and do that. And I'll be choosing Ceres again, so I just can get the extra place of power when I want it. You've no respect. Now if you go in here for this quest, then that means that you can't really come out of it until you've done it, because the castles just sort of gets like locked down and you have to deal with the berserkers and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to try and get it saved first. It must have just saved already. Yeah. I'm just using the autosave slots for this playthrough. Okay. Make a save here. Now, do I want to go and do high stakes, or do I want to actually complete King's Gambit first? Might as well do King's Gambit first, I think. And I can finish this stuff off in Skellige and then go back to do Ugly Baby and everything else. So Yeah, because you have to go back to speak to the Baron's guy to do the next bit, so I might as well finish off some of this stuff in Skellige first. Right, I know it's a little bit shorter than a usual episode, but I'm just going to call it there. I've got some other stuff that I need to take care of as well. So, if you have been watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Please like, comment and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps me out. If anybody wants to follow along with the playthrough, then you absolutely can do, and that is Demon Phoenix 237 on Twitch. So, thank you everybody, and you all have a good day on the path.